Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Emily. Today's video is a really fun, relaxing bookshelf makeover. We're gonna hop right into this project. I grabbed this from an estate sale about a month ago. I got it for $10 and I saw a lot of potential with this piece. It is definitely handmade. The shelves are not, equal distance apart from each other height-wise. The paint job, you can see the brush strokes. I'm pretty sure it was latex paint, but I'm not 100% sure. But like I said, I saw a lot of potential in this piece and I really wanted to have fun with it. So I grabbed it and I set it aside for a weekend where I could relax and enjoy the process of working on a project like this. The first thing that I wanted to do was sand this down so that I could get an even coverage over the entire thing. I wasn't worried about stripping this piece. I knew it wasn't going to be any special wood underneath, and I was going to paint it anyways. So I really just wanted to make sure that everything was even. And so I'm going to sand it down with, I believe I started with 180 grit and then I worked up to 220 just so that everything was nice and smooth and I could get rid of all of the brush strokes and any raised areas that there were. And I had my supervisors with me, of course, the entire time. It was a beautiful weekend and we enjoyed being outside as much as possible. So I am working with the orbital sander as much as possible. And then for the areas that I couldn't reach, I am using my hand little detail sander here just to help with all of the, rounded edges and the corners that I couldn't get with the orbital sander. I'm just using this wood filler to fill in the holes as best as possible. Even though this piece was handmade, I really wanted to fill in all of the nail holes that were used for the shelves and then some of the areas, on the actual shelves themselves, just on the corners, just to make it look a little bit more seamless and not as handcrafted as this piece is. So I'm going to fill in all of the holes, all the areas that I want to fill in, and I'm going to let it set aside for, I think I let it sit for like an hour or so, and then I gave it a really good sand to make sure that everything was smooth, and then I wiped it down to get it ready for the next part. I had a feeling that there might be some bleed through, especially with this red paint. So I am going to prime this piece. At this point in time, I wasn't sure if I was going to go with a dark color or a light color. So I really wanted to make sure I primed this piece really well, just in case I went with a lighter color. So I did give this one really good coat. I ended up using the whole can on this piece. Again, because of the red paint, I really wanted to make sure that none of that was going to pop through. And for this piece, I did make sure that I primed all sides, even the underside of the bookshelf itself. This is a small piece, so I wanted to make sure that it was completely covered, and I am going to paint, all sides of this as well. So once the primer did dry, I let it dry for several hours. I'm taking 320 grit sandpaper to kind of knock back all of the raised areas from the primer, make sure that it is super, super smooth and ready for paint. I finally settled on a color and I ended up going dark. I'm doing Midnight Sky by Dixie Belle. I was torn. You can see the colors that I was looking at there. I am going to be using a transfer set, and that ultimately made my decision on the color that I wanted to. So I do really love this darker black color. It's a warm black. It's not super harsh or like a stark cold black. It's definitely more of like a warmer black. I really like it. So I am going to be doing, I think I did 2 coats of paint. I used the roller on all of the surfaces that I could. It just made this process so much faster than, you know, having to hand paint everything. So I used the roller for as much as I could, and then I touched up areas with the paintbrush. And like I said, I did 2 coats, and I let it sit overnight. I took this past weekend really easy, and I just worked on this one project. It was really nice to just relax and focus on one thing and not have to multitask working on, you know, at least 3 different projects. It was just really nice, and like I said, it was so nice outside that I tried to be out as much as possible, and you can see I'm pretty much doing this entire project outside. I hope you guys had a great weekend where you're at, and that you're kind of able to take it a little bit slower. I know it is summertime, so maybe it's not as slow, but you know, any chance that you can take to kind of just step back a little bit. It felt really nice for me to do that, and like I said, just to work on this one project and get creative and enjoy the entire process. So I am using I believe it's the Franz Botanical transfer set by IOD. This transfer set is kind of what inspired this entire project. I really loved a lot of the larger pieces on this transfer set, and I didn't really know what small piece I wanted to use it on. So I thought that this project piece would be so much fun to kind of play around with the larger transfers and just see, you know, how it would all come together, and just, like I said, have some fun with this project. And you know, if I didn't like where I had it placed at one point, I could move it around. You know, I'm just hanging it up right now with some tape just to see how I like it. So I'm going to rearrange a little bit and, you know, take a step back, and then once I'm ready, I'm going to start applying the transfers. So applying all these transfers, I'm not gonna lie, it did take me a while. I ended up listening to my favorite podcast. I put it on, I think I listened to like 2 episodes. So, I mean, this took me, you know, probably a good almost 2 hours to get all of this done, but I was relaxed and I thoroughly enjoyed the entire time that I was doing this. So with these transfers, I am going to slowly but carefully apply the transfers. You can see that I am using the backing of the transfer, you know, to make sure that I am not burnishing over top of the paint. You know, at this point the paint is not sealed in, so I didn't want to mark the paint at all. So by, you know, putting the, you know, the backing on top like I am here, I can rub across that entire area and not worry about affecting the paint at all. And I'm doing that because I did cut some of these transfers really close to the edges. So, you know, the main part of the transfer is completely covered. You're not going to have to worry about it. But because I was cutting the larger pieces from the smaller transfers that were in this set, I did have to cut it kind of close to the edges. So that's kind of where I was adding that backing to make sure I didn't hit any of the paint. And then with these larger transfers, you know, your transfer sheet is going to be quite large. So if it gets in your way, just trim it off as you're going along, and it will really help when you're applying this transfer. So I really wanted some of these pieces to kind of overlap, you know, into the inside of the bookshelf. I thought that would be a really nice feature. This is actually the back side. I wasn't even thinking about it when I was applying this transfer. I wanted that to wrap more around the front because that was going to be the part that you were going to see. But I just kind of like got into it and I wasn't even, you know, paying that much attention. So that one was actually the back side. But you can see here, it did create, not, I wouldn't say a mess. I had a great time, and my supervisors are, well, they're not really supervising, but you know, they're around. So like I said, I just had a really nice time, a great afternoon spent outside working on this piece. So this is the piece at the end of the afternoon after I had applied all of the transfers to it. I did not realize at the time, but I was not recording when I sealed it. So I just wanted to explain what I did. And I just did polyacrylic. I did the water-based polyacrylic by Minwax. I did the entire piece, you know, even the undersides of the bookshelf. I wanted to make sure that everything was fully sealed in, especially where the transfers are and the actual shelves, because that's where the items are going to be placed. So that was all that I did to seal it. I really like how the finish came out. It kind of richened up that black and it made the transfers pop a little bit more. So I'm going to share some clips of it in my booth as well. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys have some fun projects that you are working on this summer. I'm probably going to take it a little slow to begin with and just kind of get back into the creative groove with some projects. So I hope everyone is having a great summer so far and a great week, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.